Well, welcome, one and all, to Bike Racing Without Mercy on a beautiful Sunday morning. I really should be outside. However, it's been a while since I've live streamed, and there is one horrendous little medium fondo on the agenda. It is the Royal Pump Room, one of the Yorkshire circuits, and it is relentless up and down for two circuits of 28 kilometres each, ascending overall about 1,100 metres, but it's the punchy nature of the course, and it does remind me a little bit, of course, because it's from the same area, the toughest 100 for the band of climbers. So I'm kind of hoping that it might be a course that semi-suits me. This is an age category race. I'm in the C's, which is 50 to 59. Everybody starts at the same time though, so it should be a lot of fun. I think there's a good 200-300 people in this race. Olga, very nice to see you. Thank you very much for joining. I hope you're well. Vidar, always a pleasure, sir. Hope life is treating you well. I know your fitness has been on the up over the last, really over the whole summer. You need to kind of just maintain now over the sort of the back end of the autumn and the winter, and have a little bit of a build into the new year, and you're going to be a force to be contended with, to be reckoned with, not contended with. Paul, very nice to see you. Hope you're well. And are you on call this very fine day, or do you have some nice things to do with the family later? Laura, I've been loving seeing how, it's good to see you as always, obviously. Crafty Lou. Laura does some amazing embroidery. Very, very impressive. You look at her Instagram. It's been really good seeing Phil's recovery as well. I think he's already stronger than I am after his dreadful accident. So keep it going, Phil. Your comeback, is inspiring, and it's certainly better thought through than mine. Carlo, buongiorno. Buongiorno, ciao. Hope all is good, sir. I'm just back. Well, not just back. I actually did a crit race for the first time in ages last weekend. But the weekend before was Gran Fondo in Lombardia. Your neck of the woods. Didn't have the Viglia, did it on a Pillarello. But yeah, an amazing event. Proper chaos at the beginning. I'll talk a little bit about that later. Really not my confidence, a massive crash at the beginning, but yeah, an incredible event. Daz, you're in a race too, nice one. So you're in Seacat, all right. Well, have mercy, Daz, have mercy. I hope you're well, sir. Oh no, I'm sorry to see that you've been struggling with the vertigo and ill this week. I know quite a few people are struggling with that at the moment. Dear, oh dear. Not on call. You're going to indulge in a Zwift therapy session. Very nice. Jamaican rum brownies. I've not heard of them, but they do sound very indulgent. A long 5 months, yeah. And I know you've probably been his rock, Laura. You need to make sure that when he's fully recovered, a nice holiday is procured for you both. Yeah, Daz, I think it is a question of survival. The Royal Pump Room is one of the Yorkshire circuits that goes through the city. You do a circuit of the city, Harrogate. And trust me, in real life, these roads are a lot steeper than on Zwift. And then you go into the countryside, but you go back and out basically into the countryside, and you do that twice, because you went back in the city, do another lap of the city, and go back and out. So it's going to be a VO2 max workout. That's partly why I've been drawn to it, because I'd like to do one more crit race ahead of the year end. There's one middle of November at the Olympic Velo Circuit. And definitely I had a decent crit race. I had a bad crash. I had a nasty crash back on the NCRA handicap races in early March. Really badly injured my left hand side, had to get the handlebars replaced on the bike, and the shifters, all this kind of stuff. But it took me a long time to recover from it, and because I had the Fred Whitten, I decided not to do any more crit racing or road racing, plus the bike was broken anyway. And then confidence has been gradually rising over the summer following the Fred and Toughest 100. And then the start of Gran Fondo di Lombardia was just like a Zwift race. I should have realised that. It's the same as Strada Bianchi, the Gran Fondo. But on a straight, there was a big crash in front of me. About 4 or 5 riders just went down, but we were going so fast, I only just struggled to avoid it. And that knocked my confidence. So I thought, unless you get back into some kind of a fast-paced environment quickly, you're just going to kind of mull over it over the winter. So I went and did a crit race up at the Velo Circuit, Cat 2, 3 and Masters together. And I kind of finished in a bunch. It was a nice fast race, about 43 kilometers an hour, for about 50 minutes or so. So, built back a bit of confidence, but also realised just how much I do love the crits. And, I am not a force of nature in the crits. I am pack fodder, but it is really exhilarating just riding around in it. And I have to provide a lot of power just to survive in a bunch for me. Like 270 normalised, I think it was. Anyway, let's go. Daz, our Father, who art in heaven, hallowed be thy name. Bless these cyclists at the Royal Pump Room in Zwift, virtually. Lead us not into getting dropped too quickly. I mean, I will get dropped. My watts per kilogram are just not enough. I'll get dropped by the A's and the B's, and I'll get dropped by some of the C's. Many, many riders were chosen. Few were selected, including me. Tim Fulford is here. Tim, from the original Cycling Hub, now Endurance Zone, the sponsor, the Wahoo Lacole racing team. Oh yeah, definitely. Oh, I'm not going Cat 2 next year, Carlo. No, I mean, I'm a Cat 3 at best, but I actually quite like the Masters racing. It's a bit more civilised. There's no dive bombing or anything like that. I'm going to focus on a couple of big fondos or something like that. I'm not quite sure. Probably Mammoth. Yeah, it's proper tough. Vida, proper tough. But yeah, Cat 2 is not on the cards for me. I just don't have the raw power. I don't have the winning. If I'm also honest, I don't have the skills on the bike or the winning mentality. I'm always surprised to do semi-well. I do adhere to the taking part is as important as the result. That's possibly because the results are never that impressive. Then of course, actually, I'm being hard on myself. First place in a band of climbers, toughest 110 kilometre route where the hitters weren't present. They were in 160. I gotta admit that. But nonetheless, of those of us that did it, and there was a good 150, 160, first place, that's alright, you know. But as you'll see, Gran Fondo di Lombardia destroyed. Come on, Philip, psych yourself up. Come on, Daz, psych yourself up. This is going to be nasty, as you say. Nasty is the word. The level of concern is rising. Come on. So where will you be going on holiday? Crafty Law, sorry. Where's Laura? Sorry, yeah. Law. Sorry, Jane's correcting me. Jane is a stickler for good form. Sorry, Laura. I am a dyslexic. I am properly dyslexic, as it happens. Very severely. Daryl, Daz, cheers for that, mate. Bon chant to you as well. Here we go. The point of no return. Now, it's quite a nice circuit of the Harrogate first. You know, bit of up, bit of down, not too steep, but plenty of places for the stronger riders to drop the lambs amongst us, i.e. me. Then we go on to kind of an easy climb before we hit this hard stuff. But it's not an easy, it's an easy climbing gradient, but again, for those with a good watts per kilogram. Oh, and I've forgotten to reduce my weight. I'm down at 65 today, but I think I'm 65 and a half on this. What is going on with my power? Hey up, Tim. Me too, Carla. Hog heel. Wow, this is hard. Proper hard. Oh dear me. Hey up, Stephen. I'm on my rivet. Hey, Marco. Oh, royally dropped, sorry. That was proper hard. Yeah, 100% Marco, it's ×2 though. Nice one, Tim. Hang on in there, sir. Yeah, me too. How's life, Marco? How's life treating you, Stephen? Good to see you both. Oh, nice one, Marco. What are you doing? Dear me. Oh dear. Nice one. That sounds proper, important, and very technical. Oh dear me. Oh dear me. Oh, always good to be working with the blue chips. Oh dear. So that's 16 minutes at just around FTP, but the normalised will be a lot higher. Very demanding that. Let's see if we can hit a rhythm here. Why are you screaming at night? Haha, yeah, me too. After this. Hey Patrick, you see? Oh, freaking hell. Dear me. That was horrid. Cheers, Marco. Good tip, thank you, Marco. Dear, oh dear. Oh, come on, fit. Yeah, back the way we came. Oh dear me. Cheers, Marco. Cheers, everybody. Yeah, seriously hard, Carlo. Good for crit race practice. Yeah, power is good for me. Yep. Cheers, Marco. Oh. Oh, putting myself out there. Nice recovery, Phil. You're doing amazing. Oh. Stressed at work, Phil, but fitness is okay. Caffeine gel. Oh, I'm in all kinds of trouble. Yeah, I think you're right, Marco. Oh, dear me. The watt bike has a longer warranty and much better servicing. They come out and service it for you. but it doesn't go up or down. The kicker bike is better for Zwift. But if it breaks, you've got a 1-year warranty and no one to service it or fix it. Yeah, Sean, I have been in a hurt locker on the first lap of this. Second lap of the pump room. Oh, I'm in a hurt locker here. Nice one, Sean. Yeah, I do too. What bike atom is what got me into cycling. I bought it just a bit of high intensity cardio at the end of weight training. Nice one, Phil. Plan B. Oh, I'm not very talkative at the moment, I do apologise. Yeah, this course is relentless. How do, Simon? How are you, sir? You just caught me in a break here. It has been proper emotional. I do mean proper emotional. It's an all age group race. It's I'm in a C, 50 to 59. B, 40 to 49. A, up to I think 39. Hi Rod, greetings to the beautiful US of A from St Albans, UK. Here we go. All right, back into the lumpy stuff now. Hold on to your hats. Yeah, power's there as well. Easier to control. Oh dear. Top it. Oh dear me. Cheers, Ian. Thank you very much. Very good, Stephen. Well, let's see if I can even finish. Swiss Stephen Tony. Beautiful. Now, cheers, Ian. I've recouped a little bit. A few hard punches to come. Yeah, the fast show. Impe's brilliant. Radiant. Radiancer. Radiancer. Dave Angel indeed. Nice jazz. I also liked him. Mr. Chumley Warner. Yeah, dust it off, Stephen. Get fit over the winter. And then land some big fish. My kicker is creaking like an old wooden battleship. I'd have to say it's the power I'm putting down. As you can see, it's not that. Right, get your head in the game, Philip. Cheers, Marco. Can't fit. Mental fortitude. Here we go. Good tip, Marco. Oh. God, we're a long way behind the front group. You seen a breakaway, Tim? How you going, Dad? Dear me. What age group are you, Marco? How old years? 50 to 59. Oh, God, dear. Oh, you mean my age group? Sorry. I'm away with the fairies at the moment. Thank you, Marco. Yep, counting them off. Cheers, Simon. Thank you for joining. It's even kind of you. Yeah, not that spicy. Yeah, that's the intent, Marco. She's in. I'll try. Yeah. Oh. Just as. Oh, dear me. Congratulations, Daz. That is a superb time. Absolutely blistering, mate. Very well done. That is incredible. Thank you, everybody. Thank you. Yeah, I mean, this is all good power for me. Let's have a look at the old graph. Nice one, Tim. How did you place in your age category? The younger one, eh? Yeah, I mean, that was extraordinarily difficult. I was hoping I'd do okay on this because the fitness is not dissimilar to the band of climbers toughest 110 because it's the same terrain, but I was going deeper here, but obviously for a shorter period. I mean, a band of climbers, 110 kilometres, band of climbers, 110 kilometres, 3,500 metres of climbing, so there's more climbing per kilometre. You can't go as deep as that. I did it in about 4:44, so dear me, 7th overall, very nice. That is extreme. Yeah, I'm not sure what my normalised power would be. I'd guess, based on the crits where I'm doing 240, no, it's about 249, wasn't I, average at the end of that, 249. I expect it to be about 20 watts more. It's about 265, 270 would be my normalised. Oh, dear me. But, I mean, it was a really hard start. For about the first 10 minutes, it was 290 watts average, and that is VO2 max for me. And then a relentless first lap, and then easier through Harrogate here. I mean, there's a bit of recovery here, but then we were punching quite hard on all of these climbs. So, yeah, I mean, that was tough. And the reason I picked this particular fondo is, well, A, it's well attended, and I've done a few of these age group fondos, and I really like them. You get a very good attendance at them, and it makes it a much more interesting live stream. But B, as I say, I'd like to do another crit race in the middle of November, the last one of the season. They haven't got any until then, and it's great fitness for that on and off the power, but deep, deep, deep. And certainly, let's go back to let's actually have a look at the critical power. Yeah, so I think, I think we got to about 30 minutes. Yeah, 30 odd minutes at 260. It's about 4 watts a kilogram. I'm weighing 65 today. Albeit, let's have a look at, what was my 1 minute power? Yeah, I mean 1 minute. If you go to, I'll show you what. Go back. If I go to the menu, you can see on the settings, as always, I've got about 80% trainer difficulty, so that when I run out of gears on Zwift, I run out of gears in real life. But also, you'll see that I use the Favero Asiomas always for the power, because the kicker bike, Phil was asking watt bike versus kicker bike. That watt bike Atom, the second one that we've bought, that reads about 5 or 6 watts lower than the Faveros, but the kicker bike reads about 7 to 8 watts higher than the Faveros. So I always use the Faveros because that's what I use outdoors. Oh, nice one, Marco. If you're back in London, give me a shout. I'd love to meet up with you. Hopefully I'll be back out in Europe. I'm not quite sure where. Maybe La Marmotte. Yeah, the energy felt good today. Definitely stay here. Definitely, because I've been doing a lot more zone 2 and I really hate it. I find it so boring. The heat training helped build the fitness. I've stopped the heat training because it is just so messy and unenjoyable, but I will use the heat training again back in the new year. Probably around, I don't know, March, April, somewhere around there. when I figured out what events I'm going to do. The heat training definitely made me ride more zone 1, zone 2, albeit the heart rate's a lot higher than zone 1, zone 2, and definitely I got a good benefit of that. And you know, I'm just riding probably less frequently on the bike, maybe 2-3 rest days sometimes, but longer each time. And I think that's also helping a bit more. So yeah, I mean, I'm gonna edit my video. I did it on a 360 camera of Gran Fondo with Lombardia, and it is a proper Italian Gran Fondo. I got my training wrong for it, because I should have realised it would be like the start of Gran Fondo Strada Bianchi, where the Italians go full. They let out all the pens, 1, 2, 3 at the same time. The Italians go fullest of full gas for about the first 20 minutes. And even though I kept my line generally to the right, people were undertaking me, overtaking me, cutting past me. And you know, I was letting people get through because I realised I wasn't strong enough to stay at the front. And then we hit a straight. And yeah, we're going at quite a pace. It was the early morning. You know, the light wasn't yet perfect. And about 4 people wiped out just in front of me on the straight. There wasn't any road traffic. No traffic on the roads, but there wasn't any kind of road obstacles like roundabouts or bollards or anything like that. They just wiped out. And I only just avoided coming off. I really thought I was going down. And that really whittled me. And on the back of my accident at the NCRA road race in the early March, where I came off the Bianchi really hard on the left, and I'd stopped kind of crit racing and road racing after that to focus on the Fondos, the Fred Witten and the toughest 110. I thought, unless I get into a crit race soon, I'm never going to do it again outdoors. So I put myself into a crit race last Saturday at the Olympic Velo Circuit. Cat 2, 3, but also the Masters, all one combined race, albeit 2 results within that. And I managed to stay in the bunch. There was a small breakaway of 3 that got away, but I stayed in the bunch throughout, and that's big power for me to stay in the bunch of that kind of a race. Very fast, about 44 kilometers an hour average, 43, 44 an hour average. Very punchy, and that kind of helped bring a bit of confidence back. The thing about a crit race, rather than one of those Fondos, is everybody knows the line and everybody's kind of holding their line. Whereas the Fondos, that Italian Fondo, they were just cutting you up a lot. So I'm hoping to do it one more time this year at the Velo Circuit, just to build a final bit more confidence ahead of next year. So I don't know why, I'm away with the fairies, hence I'm just rabbling right now. But that was a great race for me, great preparation, hopefully for a decent crit race in mid-November. Hi Daz, yeah, I mean, no, I've never cycled Richmond Park. Did a lot of Regent's Park, a lot of Swains Lane and all of that kind of stuff. But I was out in the southeast, Shad Thames, so I'd either go to the Velo Circuit, Hog Hill, or I did a lot around the inner circle of Regents. I do miss London. Do you? I've seen you go around Richmond a fair bit. I've never been to Richmond Park, I don't think. Yeah, I mean, you would be good, I'm sure, Marco. And the thing is, you start in the Cat 4s or whatever the lowest cat is near you, and you have to ride a little bit within yourself in terms of taking the lines and all that kind of stuff. But it teaches you. The thing about Zwift is you're just riding through riders, and it teaches you about positioning. And definitely when you're out in the back, strung out, boy, do you burn a lot more energy. There's the kind of people punch through the hairpins or the corners, and the ones behind slow, and then if you're right at the back, you got to punch harder for longer to stay in the bunch. So it teaches you about the positioning, but albeit if you haven't got a sprint, and I do not have a sprint, I'm working on it actually, I'm doing a ringer again, you know, you're not going to score many points. So that's where, you know, for me it's about bike handling and confidence and just the sheer pleasure of doing it. But thank you all very much for joining on this beautiful Sunday morning. I used to live Teddington and Hampton, yeah. You did Box Hill. Did you do Leith a lot? Box and Leith. I really do like Box and Leith, but I only got out to them probably about four times during my time out living in London. My plank. I actually have been building it back. I let it slip a little bit over the summer. I got it back to 5 minutes most recently. And I'm working heavily on the strength. I'm doing a lot of box squatting, where I've got like, and I've got a training video I did ahead of the Grand Fond du Lombardia that talks a lot about the heat training, but also a bit of the strength training. So I've been doing back on a compound. I've always kept the compound lifts in, but I was just in a kind of a maintenance mode over the kind of late spring and the summer. But really I'm adding now to my box squat, building back the bench, because I lost a lot of strength in the upper body as a result of my accident in early March. It's taken me a long time to get the mobility in this side of the body and to be able to push on a bench. So I'm only about 55 kilograms for 3 sets of 3 on the bench. So that shows you just how weak I've got. But I'm back to 10 sets of pull-ups and 10 sets of chin-ups. And my deadlift's back at about 100. So I'm looking to build the strength, because I do believe, and I know there's a lot of people that talk about strength, but if you look at my channel, I've talked about strength for about 4 or 5 years, and I know it's a kind of fashionable thing to do right now, but I do believe that strength is one of the reasons that I adapted to cycling quite quickly. And it's because I've got, you know, good muscle for my weight and size. And muscle is athletic. It's a valuable commodity, especially if with that muscle comes good nervous energy and strength. Ramble with the Wilsons. That's a lovely, lovely name. I love that. Very good morning to you. Yes, I do. Yeah, I mean, if ever I'm doing zone 2, I did 2 hours of zone 2 yesterday, including a reconnaissance of this course. I did all of that fasted. I did an hour at about 205 watts in one of the pacer groups, and then I did another hour at about 190 watts around here. And I've got no idea what the benefit of the fasted rides is anymore. I see so much conflicting evidence, but for me, in my head, I'm saying, well, I'm running down the muscle glycogen and the liver glycogen and all that kind of stuff, and when you're depleted and you then need a load of carbohydrates after the ride, more of it goes to the muscle and the brain and the liver because you've depleted. But I also believe that in the morning when you wake up, and there's a lot of science around this from the strength training and all that kind of stuff. I've done intermittent fasting for a long time in strength training. I did it for about 4.5 years. When you wake up, you've got high cortisol, and cortisol is the stress hormone that helps the body break down fat to use as energy. It also will break down muscle and bone. So it's not a one-way ticket. But in the morning when the cortisol is high, if you get and you've eaten carbs the night before, the evening meal, you get up, maybe have a black coffee, something like that, and train. And I put the amino acids in to try and reduce the muscle breakdown. They've got no calories in the amino acids. The idea is that the cortisol is high, the coffee then spikes the cortisol a bit more, and you get into more of a kind of a fat burning mode. And I certainly don't feel hungry during an hour and a half, 2 hours of zone 2 doing that. And then when I finished, it's not like I feel ravenous or anything. I just have a protein shake, some creatine, and then a sugary source of carbohydrates. to spike the insulin, because the carbohydrates, whenever you eat food, you produce insulin. Insulin is the hormone that transports nutrients around the body. Ultimately, as the body breaks down the food into sugars, the sugars are then broken down into glucose, which is transported by the insulin around the body and deposited either in the liver, the brain, or the muscles. And once all of the liver, the brain, and the muscles are full, it goes to fat, hence why calorie control is important. And so with a faster training, you're spiking the cortisol. You might spike it further with a black coffee. You train for an hour, 2 hours, whatever, reasonably low intensity in that fat burning zone. But also you've got the cortisol spiked and it's breaking down the fat with the amino acids, hopefully preserving the muscle. And then after the ride, you're depleted that bit further. And so when you have your carbohydrates, your sugary carbs, that really spikes the insulin nicely. It suppresses the cortisol because it's kind of binary. Where there's insulin, there's no cortisol. Where there's cortisol, there's no insulin. And, well, roughly speaking. And because the body has been depleted, as that insulin's transporting all of those sugars around the body, it's depositing them to the brain, the liver, and the muscles. And really that's starting the process of recovery, ready for the next training. And for me, it works well. Some people say it's bad, it's no good, blah, blah, blah. But it's something I've done for years and years and years. And I stick with it. Now, if I'm doing a VO2 max training, or a threshold training, or indeed a Zwift race, my protocol ahead of this is very different. First thing in the morning, I have a full fat Coke to get the sugars flowing around the body. Then I have some of that Stärke carbohydrate mix. I have about 45 grams of carbs with water and some amino acids before I start. Then I have 30 grams of carbs and 150 milligrams of caffeine, one of those gels on the start line. I consume 2 gels, sometimes 50 grams, those have 30 grams in them. I had another 45 grams of carbs in that. And then I had a second gel of 30 grams of carbs and 150 milligrams of caffeine on the descent ahead of the start of the second lap. And I had a lot of rice with dinner last night. So, depending on the demands of the day, I will alter the carbohydrate intake. Like today, now I've done this because it'll be an easy day tomorrow or a rest day. I won't eat a ton. Just eat normally. There won't be a lot of, there'll be sugary carbs initially after this, just to replenish the glycogen, but thereafter I won't feel that hungry. I won't eat a ton. I'll just eat normally. I won't starve myself either. Fast break. Do cyclists only do heat training or chase the heat training was one of the really hype things this year, and so many people said it was good. I thought to myself, you've got to give it a go, young Philip. You've got to give it a go. And I started with a higher booster suit. And why do you have to give it a go? One, if you're going to do an event in the middle of the summer, especially in Europe, where potentially it could be very hot, especially in the valleys, the heat training helps the body produce more sweat, and sweat helps the body cool because the process of convection, the heat exchange as the sweat comes to the skin surface with the air, for a process of convection that cools the body. So you get better at sweating and cooling. Therefore, it adapts you for these longer events in the summer. But a lot of studies show it also encourages an increase in blood plasma, i.e. the fluid that transports, the fluid that comprises blood, within which you have the red blood cells. And they say that with the increase in plasma also ultimately comes an adaptation of more red blood cells. And so that obviously improves the level of oxygen that is being delivered to the muscles, and it improves your aerobic fitness. And definitely I found with the Hayabusa suit, as I built up from like 40 minutes of heat training, which isn't enough, through an hour, hour and 15, hour and a half. The first time I produced an hour and a half of power, I was like 170 watts for 30 minutes and then 100 watts for the other hour. But by the end of my heat training protocols, I was regularly doing 160, 170 watts for a full hour and a half. I know that doesn't sound anything special, but trust me, that is a huge, huge improvement. And I found that, well, you can see I've still got, I think, some of the benefits of the heat training. My fitness has improved. And I personally believe the heat training does provide both the ability to cool the body better, but also ultimately lifts your aerobic ceiling. And this is the thing, I do love the process of training, often more than the actual process of the race or the event. But I need the event, the race, the fondo, whatever it is, to kind of focus me on the training. But I do love to experiment, but I don't like to throw the kitchen sink at it. Because if you throw the kitchen sink at your training, you don't know what's working, what isn't working. But a big change I've made this year to improve in fitness, heat training aside, is that I do maximum really 2 intense sessions a week. And more of the zone 2. I think that's probably the bigger benefit overall. And I really hate the zone 2. I mean, I do hate it. It's just epically boring. But I'm doing it in the pacer groups. So, that helps. I honestly don't know if I'll be able to carry on doing the zone 2 right away through to the events next year. The intense training, I just love it. I love being in the moment. I love pushing, but ultimately it becomes frustrating when you hit a ceiling. And so this is where I've kind of focused myself. And certainly the time I managed in the Fred Whitten set at 6:49, and the good time I managed on the toughest 110, it showed me I am capable of having some decent rides. And some of the speed in the crit races I was doing, and indeed the one I just did, I am capable of having some good events. But I have to also accept that time is coming on for me. I'm not as strong as I once was, and so I've got to kind of focus my resources. Anyway, it does give you a nice, God, I should have another go at the ringer. I forget how hard that ringer is. The ringer is like you do 30 seconds, I think it's either 12 sets of 30 seconds with about 2.5 to 3 minutes rest. It kind of reduces over the course. But those 30-second efforts are searing, literally searing. And so I'm going to do a little bit more of that and see if that kind of helps with the final crit race of the year, or indeed the Zwift racing. But anyway, nice to chat about the training and stuff. Mallorca 225, that is the better distance. That is the better distance marker. I wouldn't bother with the 312. The thing is, everyone wants the 312, as did I, because it is the 312. But the final kilometres, the final 90 or so kilometres, frickin' hell. That is just, it's just a waste of time. Well, it's not a waste of time, that's not the right way to describe it. It just wasn't pretty. Whereas you get all the mountains at the beginning, and you get a beautiful coastal route. And I'm not quite sure where. Yeah, and I think you just go. Yeah, so at the point there's a kind of a right-hand turn for the 312, and then I think you just head back the final 10 kilometres to the end at the turning, at 215 kilometres. I think it's after about 170 kilometres, it ain't that pretty. But 225, that's a good distance for that one. 160 or the 225 is what I would do if I ever did it again. I won't do it again. Too many riders. That's the other thing you'll find. I won't do the marathoner again. Way too many riders. Yeah, that's it. Okay, nice. Anyway, thank you all very much for joining. I hugely appreciate it. Probably another Zwift race next weekend. See what Zwift Companion provides in terms of the offering. But in the meantime, whoever you are, whatever you do, please remember to live, thrive, stay super healthy, have a little bit of fun on the bike outdoors in the last few good days of the year. If not, enjoy your time on Zwift. Ciao, arrivederci.